Okay, so term document matrix. So a common approach in text mining is to create a term document matrix from a corpus. So what we do is, let's say we go back to this one. Okay, so here we have 1, 2, 3, all these 23 different records, we would say. And so, I don't know, this one is what? Okay, so, I'm sorry, let's see. We see that we have 23 documents here. If we open up the first one, I can see that the ID for the first one is 127. Okay, and it seems like, but okay, now if you try to do, okay, so if you try to do this document term matrix, so this is document term document. It's just one, you have the terms one way and the documents the other. The other one you have the terms this way and anyway, let's see what that means. So so this one, now this won't work because my Reuters is still in XML format. So if I try it, it'll give me an error because it doesn't like it because it's XML. So I have to remember I called it after I made it plain text, so then it works. Okay, so now I have DTM. Okay, now suppose I want to see it. Now, okay, but I have to be careful because what is this doing? So what it's doing is it's taking each of the documents. Now I had 23 documents. So it's taking each one of them and making a row for each one. So the first, remember the first document ID was 127. Second document ID, I guess, is 144, and so on. So it's going to take make a row for each one of them. And then what it's going to do is it's going to take the entire set of all the words in this Reuters corpus. So if we looked up all the words, if we made an accounting of all the words in all these documents, it's going to take each of them. And so, for example, able is a word that occurred in at least one of the documents. Abroad is a word that occurred in at least one of the documents. This is a word or a stem. Remember, we stemmed it, or they stemmed it. And accept is a word, and accord with a comma. So it's kind of weird that it's not putting these two together. But anyway, so there are many words that occur. And then what this is in the first document, able was not in there. And neither was abroad, and neither was this stem, or whatever that is, and neither was this word, and so on. In fact, it's not very interesting because none of them have anything. But none of these documents have any of these words. But anyway, what it's doing is, as I said, it takes all the terms and makes a column for each of the terms, and takes all the documents and makes a row for each of the documents, and then just indicates whether this was in there or not. And that's all. That's all this is. So if it was in there, it would put a 1. If this document had like the word accept twice, then it might have a 2 here. It depends. I'm not sure how it's doing it. It might have a 2 here. It might have a 1 here. Just to say it occurred at least once, or it might give the actual number that it occurred. Okay, so in fact, let's do, what should we do? Let's do this. Just type DTM, see what happens. So it has 20 documents and this many terms, or this many columns. So it has a lot of columns. So I don't want to inspect the whole thing because it's going to be too many columns. It's going to be just pour out all this data here that I won't really be able to read. It says non-sparse entries. So that means how many are basically not 0. Remember, we saw that in fact in here, they were all zeros, right? So how many in the whole DTM are not 0? So the answer to that is that there are this many out of all these entries, or this many entries, because it's basically, you can figure that out, it's this number times this number of documents. That's that many entries, this many entries, but most of them are zeros, and this number are not zero. Sparsity is 91%. So it's almost all zeros. 91% are zeros. Maximal term length, not sure what that means actually. And term frequency weighting. That means, term frequency weighting means, I think that means that if the word occurs twice, then it will put a 2 there instead of just a 1. Okay? Alright, so we have that, but we don't want to print it all out. Like I could do inspect on this thing, the whole thing, but it's going to just print out so much stuff that I don't want to see that. So what they do instead is they inspect, but they don't inspect the whole thing. They inspect what? Just rows 1 through 5, and just columns 100 through 105. So let's try that ourselves. So we get it, same thing. Now if you wanted to do, you want to see other words, so suppose you did so now you'd see columns 110 through 115, so a broad that goes out to here. Okay, so that's what this is. Now this one is a document term, means documents here and terms here. Now if you wanted just the opposite, if you wanted terms here and documents here, you would use what is it? This is, we just did this one right here, but you could do this one to get the other way around. Okay, this is very important for text mining, to create this. Is sort of the whole, or the main thing that we would work with. So first we create this and then we do stuff with it. Okay, let's stop here and then look at some operations that we'll do on the term document matrix.